Hi guys, welcome back. So आज I want to talk about something that is through my observation that I've seen is people are very patient when it comes to buying a stock and all of this, but very impatient with respect to the outcome of that stock. On the other hand, I would say I am quite the opposite. Okay, I am very impatient with respect to buying, researching, and everything, versus very patient with respect to the outcome. I would say this is the difference between the people that I see on Twitter or anybody I come across versus me. Okay. Now what do I mean by this is, like, if you guys have seen me for a very long time, you would have seen, or let's say from my own experience, if I have to talk, when I started this journey in 2020, I didn't know, I didn't know how to read a con call or PPT or anything. And I still remember, I started with one sector, which was auto ancillary. Now at that time I was so impatient to learn, I just wanted to learn. I wanted to understand everything quickly. You could tell I was very aggressive also in a way. I still am aggressive, I believe, right? And instead of, like, taking it slow, let me read like one company a day or something, I literally took entire auto ancillary ka space, and I would read, I would make reports, and I would send it to Rajushi. I have literally done this. Okay, आप इस auto ancillary में कुछ भी बोलो, from the Lumax to the tire sector and everything, एक quarter में everything. And then after that, what happened, I started going into other companies, other sectors, footwear किया, what is that, QSR, like that, one sector पकड़ के I went from tracking hardly 10 companies to right now targeting 1500 companies that are there. So this is what I'm telling. I'm very impatient when it comes to my research. When I talk about research over here, if I see somebody talking about an X company on Twitter, immediately I'll go. If I find it, it's a very lucrative opportunity, I'll go, I'll read the PPT, I'll read the con call, I'll immediately come to a judgment, and then I will decide to buy the stock. Right? Very, very impatient over here when it comes to learning, very impatient when it comes to research, very impatient when when I have to do more, learn more, and everything, right? That, and you will see me, right, on a day to day basis. I might not put a video or anything, but every day I'm usually reading about a company. आज भी मैंने दो small cap का पढ़ा, Onondita Medicare and some Osline devices. Again, found out these two names. Are somebody was talking about in Twitter, read it immediately and saw if it is an opportunity or not. Okay, so this is the thing, like, very impatient when it comes to reading a lot about new companies. I love to know more, I love to read more. I have this also, this one dream, one day I just want to be able to track the entire breadth of the market. कोई भी NSE BSE में अगर कोई भी उठा के बोलते company, I should be able to talk about it. I want to track all the 6,000 companies that are listed in the market. Okay, so that is the thing. But very patient with respect to my outcome, very patient with respect to my outcome. Kya, I might do my research and everything and buy the stock, and tomorrow that stock might not react as supposed to my expectations, right? शायद खरीदने के बाद it is down 10% from my buy price, and it's taking long time. It's not a 2x, it's not a 3x, but I still have patience over there. Like, I think a lot of you guys who have tracked my journey, you've seen it, whether it is across this portfolio analysis workshop that we have done. You've seen how my portfolio has been, or for example with the multiple videos that I've done, I've spoken about so many of my stocks ka journey, right? Whether it is PGL, whether it is Tina Rubber, whether it is Yatharth Hospital, they've spoken about all this journey. Think about it, very aggressive with respect to my research, but very patient with my outcome. I think a very good example of that is Yatharth Hospital. I've been very vocal about my journey with Yatharth Hospital, and I always keep telling you guys, right, ki, like, agar kal mein koi bhi book likho, that will be the my entire experience will be based out of that one hospital ka stock, because every single curveball that I could have probably like you would only hear, I have experienced it with that stock, right? I still remember when I came across Yatharth Hospital for the very first time. I think it was October or November of a month. I still remember I was in Calcutta, immediately read it, very interesting opportunity, DRHP pad everything. But after the time I bought the stock, it has been a roller coaster ride for me. But did I sell that stock? No, I have been very patient with that outcome. I've seen that stock become 2x. From 2x I've seen it come again to my buy price, वो 390 से 750 तक चला गया था, came back again to 396. I've experienced the entire journey over there, right? But my entire decision over here has been only and only with respect to what? Only with respect to the corporate documents, irrespective of whatever the stock is done. Even take the last 3 months for the example, right? Like, it has been a very, very tough and difficult journey in the last 3 months. It's been horrible, to be very honest, right? My portfolio is down 18% from the top. You guys would have seen that, right, from the portfolio analysis workshop, right? You would see also my top stocks that is there, such as Gina Seco. I think it was trading at what, 750 800 के आसपास trade कर रहा था, and right now it has come down to what, like 580. It is not easy when you see your top holding go down 20%, when you see your portfolio go down 18% from the top, right, that you have witnessed once upon a time. It is very, very hard. But think about it, I'm very, very patient over here. I know it is very hard. I know it is, that this is a time you want to be impatient, you want to sell it, you want to I mean, you do not know also, like, what is supposed to happen in the next quarter. You feel like you have to be very smart and अपना खुद का decision लेना चाहिए and everything, right? But this is a time I am very very patient, right? When I had to research about Yatharth, when I had to research about Gina, or या आज का अगर मैं जो company पढ़ रही हूँ, I will do it quickly. But यहाँ पे over here I would say after I buy the stock, until and unless my entire decision comes down to the turning document, in the meantime whatever happens with the stock, this is the time I exhibit patience. Now what I see with people is they do ulta, completely ulta they do. When I tell what ulta they do, right, they are very patient with respect to researching and buying the stock. Okay, यहाँ पे क्या करते हैं, एक stock को लेता है, let's say they come across an opportunity and they will take probably 2 months their own gala time to read about that business. Now think about it, stock doesn't know that Prerna is reading about this business or anything, right? Stock will react in its own way. Then क्या होगा, इतना they're not seriousness, I would say. More than seriousness, I would say, more than using the word impatient, I think there is no urgency to get the work done, which I have with my work, right? Whenever I come across an opportunity, there is this urgency to like, oh, let's do about this fast, let's read about it, let's know about this company. I do not see that urgency with respect to people, to know more about the company, to do that research, to read that corporate document, to read that ppt and to understand कि like भाई क्या है, क्या capex कर रहा है, क्या visibility हो सकता है, क्या margin improvement हो सकता है. None of that I see यहाँ पे patience कहाँ पे है with respect to people by following like 100 different analysts, right? Seeing क्या what X report is telling about this company, seeing Y report, what are they telling about the company, right? And they buy, they do 100 research. यहाँ पे research का मतलब क्या है? They refer to like 100 Twitter influencers, YouTube influencers. They look at for stock recommendations and buy the stock. यहाँ पे patience दिखाते हैं, right? यहाँ पे patience दिखाते हैं with respect to even reading, like I told you. You take hours, you take years, probably to read one single company that is there. There is no urgency over here. But impatient कहाँ पे होते हैं tomorrow? यहाँ पे ज़्यादा patience दिखाते हैं. But impatient where? Tomorrow when the stock is not reacting. Probably they have bought a stock, after listening to some YouTube का analyst या Twitter का analyst या कुछ भी हो सकता है, right? After looking at the report and then they see the stock is down 10% from the buy price, the stock is not moving at all. एक quarter हो गया, although the result is good, the stock is not moving. They probably expected the stock to go up by 20-30% and the stock is not reacting, right? The price is not moved up and then what they do, यहाँ पे impatient होके निकल जाते हैं. This is a very very, I would say, silly stupid mistake, but also an easy way to get out of the game. Okay, this is the biggest thing. If you want to stay in the game, you have to do ulta. Be very impatient with respect to your research. When I tell impatience over here, मैं ये नहीं बोल रही, do not misunderstand me. I'm not telling you कि like हड़बड़ी में just आधा पढ़ के जाओ. No, when I'm telling impatient over here is like be angry with yourself, have this sense of urgency. I think that is probably a better word. Have this sense of urgency to learn more, to read more. यहाँ पे impatience दिखाओ कि like bro, I read about this stock, I heard about this stock today morning while I'm going to work. Let me go back. It's my lunch time, it's my dinner time. Let me before I go to sleep, let me just read about this stock. I have to read about this stock today only, right? I have to read about this business today. Let me see what is the management talking about this business. Have this sense of urgency over here. Be impatient about knowing about the business. But after you see it clears your checklist, you see it is a very good opportunity, and after that you buy the stock. Do not यहाँ पे impatient मत बनो, because stock price जो करेगा, it is not with respect to it's got none of yours and my concern. We cannot tell कि like what how the stock will behave, how when it will go up, when it will come down. Think about today's scenario that is there in the last 3 months. There are so many good businesses out there, so many good businesses, but you will see all the good businesses are down 30-40% from the top that is there, right? Nothing you can do about it, right? Now अब क्या करेगा? Now people are being very very impatient कि like यहाँ पे जहाँ पे patient दिखाना चाहते वहाँ पे patience नहीं दिखाया, जहाँ पे अभी impatient नहीं होना चाहिए यहाँ पे impatient हो रहा है. Now people, what they're doing, they're selling the stock, they are not reading the documents, nothing कि like यहाँ पे. And this is, I would tell you, this is where the entire the entire fault lies. Okay, this is where the entire fault lies. Do ulta, guys, do absolutely ulta. Be very impatient, have a sense of urgency with respect to your work, and then exhibit immense patience with your portfolio. When I tell again immense patience, only on a condition that like that the business is doing well, but the stock is being like an absolute whack over here for absolutely no reason, right? Like what we've seen in the market, right? You see all my holdings that is there. I think a lot of you guys know what my holding is, right? Gina, like I gave you an example, 20% from the top, right? Now think about it. My top holding, literally my number one holding over here in my portfolio, double digit allocation, 20% from the top. Absolutely nothing wrong with the business. But when I read about Gina for the first time, I still remember I read about Gina. I think the price at that time was like Now I this was before the share split. It was like around 698, 700 that time. Now I think if I adjust it with the share split, I think the price was around 196, in that range that is there. So here is the thing, right? Ki, like at that time when I first came across, I still remember, like one of the persons, they were like, bro, you track so many hospitals, why you not reading about Gina, right? It's also one hospital. I still remember, reading about it, looking at their document and attending their first con call and everything. I've also done a video after, like, once I read it and everything, I had done a video on Gina. You can go back and check, right? Very, very, I would say I was very passionate about that, right? But having said that, today when you see in that entire journey of Gina Seco, that is that I bought that stock, when it was a small cap, SME tha wo, you have to buy it in lot size and everything, right? Immense impatient in learning. But think about it, from that SME, I've seen that journey from SME to the main board. I've seen it go from, buying it from a lot size to, now you can buy a single share. You've seen this entire time that is there. I exhibited immense patience over here. And only because I experienced, that entire journey, I had a lot of patience. I did not, in the meantime, how many times the stock has fallen, how many times it has gone up and down, up and down, up and down. The last 3 months also down 20%. I mean, it's really bad, right? Like you see a stock making a high and abhi aapka top holding और वो 20% नीचे गिरा and everything, right? It is really bad. But you see, just because right now I know I've been very very patient, you will also see that the market will reward you accordingly right now. So this is a time ki like ulta mat karo, right? Now is a time, we always tell ki like, whenever a stock is down 10%, I will buy. But how many of you are buying right now? The stock is down 30%, 40%. This is a time right now. This is like, instead of looking at a negative lens, right? Look at it opposite, like positive lens se dekho. Look at it as if, भगवान आपको time दे रहा है. भगवान is giving you a time to research about this stock, to research about this stock, to know more about many such stocks like this. आपको दे रहा है कि like भाई मैं आपको time दे रहा हूँ, आप पढ़ लो. This is a time to read more, research more, be impatient and cover as many companies as you can across the sector, okay? And once you see, these companies are doing good, उनका earnings momentum है, you see that the management is having a plan, वहाँ पे execution का capabilities है and everything, then what you do, right? Then once you buy the stock, then you exhibit patience. उल्टा मत करो, right? This is what I wanted to tell. If you ever do this mistake, उल्टा कर रहे हो आप, where you're listening to analyst and everything, हड़बड़ी में and everything, you're doing it, and यहाँ पे हड़बड़ी में आप, you're selling it and everything. This is an easy way to kill your portfolio, easy way to ruin your portfolio. Your entire journey has to, you have to, your आपका जो भी stocks है, you should work in a way that you're maximizing your profit and minimizing your losses. The only way you will maximize your profit is, when you read a lot, because the more you read, the more opportunities you're going to have. So even if, like, let's say a company fucks up in your portfolio, you can immediately make a switch. You can churn your company, churn your stocks, right? Because you're reading so much. So यहाँ पे आपको impatient इसलिए बनना है, because the more impatient you are, the more angry you are, the more aggressive you are over here, you have an opportunity, to read more, know more and everything, right? And वहाँ पे दूसरे तरफ से, when you see that the stock is not reacting at all, when you see कि like, 10% नीचे, 20% नीचे, whatever it could be, right? That time exhibit patience. This is the only time I would tell, कि like, they tell buy and hold, the very famous Warren Buffett ka thing. This is where I would tell, right? So if you're ever doing the opposite, it's time to change right now and use this opportunity to read, learn, and, invest over here. Do not let go of this opportunity. You don't get opportunities like this, every once, every blue moon, you get this kind of opportunity where the market is being lull, and this is a time you prepare, you invest, and, you go aggressive, right? This is the time. So make sure you are using this time very wisely, instead of, doing the opposite, where you're selling your stocks and being like, let me see later, when market comes up. Market will not knock on your door and be like, market upar ja raha hai. So that's it, guys. I hope you'll have a great day. And just a small reminder that the portfolio analysis workshop that is there, we are hiking the price to 5,999 plus GST. So if you haven't already gotten the workshop, make sure you do before it's too late. Okay, that's that. Bye.